It's like a paradox, social media. It's the same platform that fuels inspiration, suffocates as well. I think too much information drowns originality, and too much content leaves no room for contemplation. Albert Camus, in The Myth of Sisyphus, he also wrote The Outsider, also called The Stranger. He wrote The Myth of Sisyphus, in which he described a man who was condemned to roll up a boulder up a hill non-stop, only for it to roll back down over and over and over again. And I think sometimes, more than sometimes, scrolling started feeling that way, at least to me.
Well, social media has essentially taken human connection and turned it into a drug by distilling it down to the essential properties that make something addictive.
Are you scrolling? It's probably how you found this video, how long you watched the video, how many likes, comments, shares, influences what you see.
The more you engage with something, the more you're fed the same thing over and over again. And that's a cycle. This is a pattern that one should be conscious about, what we're seeing on social media.
Society has been gradually darkened by this scheme in which everyone is under surveillance all the time, and everyone is under this mild version of behavior modification all the time.
Do we get to see different point of views, or is the same point of view being represented in some disguise?
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Let's not even get started on the emotional roller coaster that we go through every single day while we are on social media, scrolling endlessly. 1 second you're laughing at a meme, and in the next moment you're fuming over some political scandal that has happened. So the emotional state is very disbalanced and unbalanced. And then you watch a cat playing a piano, a dog chasing his owner, and then goes the spiral over the existential dread. At one point, you are searching over some tech thing, a tech gadget, which of course seems like an investment or a resource that you should know about, that you should gain all the information from. Oh, I did something constructive today, after reading some beautifully written article that's there. Maybe it's about some painter, some writer, some entrepreneur, and you feel like I'm doing something that gets me information. Okay, but then if you see on the side there's suggested content, and that's one way to establish a new niche for you. Do not just come on Instagram to focus on this technology that you need information about, but at the same time there's this related content which is more funnier, which is more entertaining, and then goes the loop. Then you're no longer about technological information that you want to derive from this application. Now it's more about, the surplus, the abundance of entertainment, abundance of something that you may not have actually needed in your life is present in your life. Then becomes the questioning. Then starts this question. Why was I here? Why was this application even made? Was it to share my public opinion on something which I'm misinformed or informed about? Was it because I did not know that I could make a living out of dancing in front of a screen? These questions are important, and one should be aware of their condition because of the use of an application. If one is aware of the psychological changes, the outer body changes that are coming in your life, how you are consumed in the consumeristic world because you see some nice sneaker that's there and you're like, oh, I want to get it because I've seen it on Instagram and it looked really nice without even ever placing it on your feet, you know. And that's why I think traditional means of shopping was much better, because you get a realistic experience of, you know, what you're about to get. You get to try, you get to see, and you really know, like, you can feel, you can understand it, that okay, this is really something that I wanted. I suppose I've been wearing this boot for over 5 years now, okay, and yeah, my foot size did not increase. It's already a larger size. So thanks to taking the larger size, thanks to my father's advice, always take a size which is more, which is more in size. And yeah, so I took this shoe because I needed it, I wanted it. I really wanted some strong shoe that I can, these are feather feet leather shoes. And whenever I'm wearing them, it doesn't feel like I'm wearing them. But yeah, coming back to the point, on these apps, if you're using an iPhone versus if you're using an Android, there's a fluctuation in price. Dhruv Radi talked about this in one of his videos. It's quite compelling in its nature to be, understood, I think. How the consumeristic world entraps us and, makes us realize, okay, there's happiness associated with buying something new or bringing something new to our lives without actually ever wanting it. Now, if that same money is utilized in some investment, the question is about how we use our, finances. My friends, some of them do thrift shop, some of them go to stores and buy it, some of do engage in online, and most of them engage in online, like they're ordering from Amazon, Flipkart. Not saying that it's wrong, but when you question them about, okay, why did you want that particular shoe or a pant or whatever, they were like, oh, I saw it on social media, I saw someone wearing it, I saw the ad of it, advertisements has us chasing cars. Fight Club will remain one of my favorites of all time. Very realistic. Thanks to Chuck Palahniuk for writing it. I think the modern mind is scattered and exhausted because of social media. There's this abundance of things out there. And at first, I know it will seem very... At early on stage, it will seem very exciting, I think. Like it did to me. It was it was a platform where I could share my ideas and, But sooner or later, I figured that it was becoming a platform for more, which was more about comparisons, and a platform where I was engaging in oversharing. I was giving my personal data to people. My car, my bike was everywhere. My number plate was in it. And I know what a number plate, can do. Everything is there. So I think I overshare, and I know, like, I see a lot of anonymous accounts as well, which is fine. But I think as a person, as an average Indian, that I claim to me, which I think is not fair. I think I'm not an average Indian. And that's why I changed my title. I'm not an average Indian. I don't suffer with things that an average Indian suffers through. An average Indian is not so privileged. They're deprived of opportunities. An average Indian goes through a lot, I think. An average Indian is battling with, whatever is going on. An average Indian needs direction. An average Indian needs some sort of awareness about things that are not much talked about. The so-called, I think, the average Indian should look at, things that are not going viral at this time, I think. That will be a way for an average Indian to really understand what's actually going on inside the minds of people. Now, see, I don't make videos with this aspect of making it for the masses. My content it has a thin niche, and it's more for individuals. It's an individualistic approach to, and I think I'm on the right path, maybe. And being critical of my own work, I think, I'm not doing something that too fantastic that a lot of people will attend to this video. That's just the reality of it. I think I've accepted it. My accepting is the first step toward change. But I know most people, a lot of people, they do accept their flaws and mistakes, but they repeat it. And I think if anything, I would rather not know my flaws than not change or not work upon that. I've had friends who had gluttony, one of the sins, and they accepted it, but they were consumed by it to a point that they didn't want to do anything about it. It's like a paradox, social media. It's the same platform that fuels inspiration, suffocates as well. I think too much information drowns originality, and too much content leaves no room for contemplation. Albert Camus, in The Myth of Sisyphus, he also wrote The Outsider, also called The Stranger. He wrote The Myth of Sisyphus, in which he described a man who was condemned to roll up a boulder up a hill non-stop, only for it to roll back down over and over and over again. And I think sometimes, more than sometimes, scrolling started feeling that way, at least to me.